You're listening to the RE Social Podcast with your hosts, Andrew and Vince from Envy Invest. For more information, go to envyinvest.com.
What's up, you guys? Welcome to another episode of RE Social. Tonight is just going to be the Envy Boys. Welcome to the show, Drew.
Yo, I am here. I'm wearing my Royal Blood t-shirt. Totally irrelevant to real estate, but they're a great band. Moving on. Yeah, great live show too. Just a two-piece.
Yeah, well, I guess you're going to Nashville, so kind of relevant.
Yeah, love music. I'm about to head out on a trip. Be in 2 days on a flight to New Orleans for Jazz Fest. Going to see the Stones. It's so funny because we're so,
You seen the Stones?
Yeah.
Rolling Stones?
Yeah.
I would have thought they're all dead.
Those Brits don't die.
Didn't he just have a kid, dude?
Yeah, dude, these guys are legends, man. But yeah, people ask me, "Oh, are you gonna buy in New Orleans?" Because they know I'm kind of like, when I go, I snoop a little, and I'm like, but I think that town's gonna be underwater in 10 years. Moving on, and then I'll be in Nashville where we have property, and I'm gonna walk those properties, see where we can improve. I always like to have a relationship, talk to the guests, to the tenants, just check in with them. Something we've been doing a lot more of lately, which is part of what we've been experiencing a lot of wins lately, in case you guys are wondering. But yeah, also looking at some of the areas, meeting with our realtor, giving back a little, taking them out to dinner, taking the team out, and also checking out a couple new areas in the great state of Tennessee. If you're from Tennessee, shout out. I'll be there soon.
Yeah, this show, we're going to do a slightly different first half. I'm going to be asking Drew a bunch of questions, and then second, we'll flip it towards me. So my first question to you, Drew, is you say you have a music school and you have a real estate portfolio, and you're just traveling. What's going on? Like, are you just destroying everything and taking off, or
destroying everything?
It's just like burning the school down, shutting it down.
I'm lighting a match and I'm leaving you all. No, I'm very proud to say that I'm in a rare place that I have been making very careful chess moves to get to. Have I made it? Am I like where I want to be? Am I retired? Definitely not. I was in Mexico for 5 weeks. People kept asking me, "Are you like just on vacation? How's vacation going?" And I always be like, "Hey, I wish I was that smart. I'm not retired. I was still working, but I'm able to work from anywhere in the world, anywhere where there's Wi-Fi. Have my meetings with Vince, my team, and I can make sure I'm checking in. I'm doing work. Some days I'll work 8 hours, and then the next day I go to the beach, and that's the way I kind of like it. And I just like being in a new place in general. And this particular trip coming up, it is a very like music town kind of thing. They'll be bouncing around, but also a little bit of work as well. And so I'm very proud of how hard I've worked to get it to this place to where all I need to do is work a little bit, check in, and things are okay. Now, my next goal, and the reason why I actually pushed this trip off until today, is because I had a lot of wins happening work-wise between the two companies. And I really wanted to push that momentum a little harder and a little further. And then, not that I'm checking out and whenever I'm gone, but I just know I'm not going to be able to put in the 14-hour days, some of which I've done this past, last week for sure, which I don't mind. And I don't say it to complain. I love working. I like what I do. I like seeing the wins. I like turning the ship and developing relationships. And yeah, it's like when I was a kid, I really was into video games, which you're probably shocked because like you gave me like an Xbox, and it's sat in my closet ever since. I've not even pulled it out.
We should leave it out for the Airbnb.
Yeah, right. So, but here's why. It's because I know myself. I have this obsessiveness. Like if I'm not crushing everybody, if I'm not like really one of the best at it, I'm not going to even do it. So that's a problem. And so that's why I don't do the video games. Instead, that's the way I look at my businesses. And, that leveling up, if you will, is that journey is part of the reason for our success. And it's part of the fun for me. So I'm a very lucky place that I actually do enjoy cracking open the laptop, having a coffee, and just rolling up the sleeves.
So for listeners who are listening, it's just because you are a rich white family and you just have a lot of money and they gave you $1 million to start the music school?
I'd be lying if I told everybody that I didn't have there's like this little like resentment that I have towards people who have that and have had that. And it's not fair to them. Like, it's because I'm jealous. Like, I wish I had somebody be like, hey, you're going to inherit like $500,000. It's fine. I've got friends like that, and they just, and it's not a knock on them, but they don't have as much motivation. Rightfully so. Maybe I wouldn't either, but I have no net. I am the net. You are the net. Like we were just talking earlier, we kind of have to figure it out. For me personally, I've got a lot of family who I was talking to one of them just today, and they live in Kansas. They moved back because they were priced out. And I was like, hey, I'm going to be in Nashville. You're going to love it. He loves country. Very close. One of the closest people in my life. And he can't afford it. That's my Uncle Raj.
Oh, yeah.
Good Uncle Raj.
I love Uncle Raj.
He's the best. He big heart. But like, he's really proud of himself for retiring. But like, he can't afford to just not even fly, drive to Tennessee and come like hang out with his nephew. Like that makes me so sad.
But if you ask Dave Ramsey, though, he'll be like, your Uncle Raj has no debt. He's a winner for sure. He's a winner.
You know what?
Has $0 in debt.
If Dave Ramsey is the judge, he's a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
So we are the net. We have I was not coming from anything but hard work. I've been working since I was 12 years old because of Jeff, one of our awesome my stepdad and our like main handyman here. And he's the best, man. He really helped me get some work. I was shoveling snow. I was moving furniture. Scrawny me was like moving furniture. Just getting crushed by couches.
You don't know who Jeff is. He's the guy from Hick and Curry from my famous.
We got to start
reels.
There needs a separate podcast.
Yeah.
Where you guys just talk, crap. But but no, I came from nothing and hoping to build something.
So you were a waiter and then you got into teaching guitar, and then you figured out a way to open up your own school. Yep. And now that you have your school, you are able to travel a little bit since the school will kind of make money. You still have to manage them, but you don't have to physically teach.
Technically speaking, I could travel infinitely.
Yeah.
Technically speaking. Yeah. Now, part of the reason why I can't really travel infinitely, like as much as I'd like, is two parts. One part is I am really enjoying the work and seeing some big shifts happen. I've gotten smarter. I've kind of seen like a clearer picture. That trip to Mexico for 5 weeks was I got a bird's eye view. I got to kind of pull back. That's why I really think you should do like a trip, at least days, It was a really nice way to.
Let's get this loser green card first.
Yeah, I know. But even just, Seattle or something for the back. But the point is it's kind of nice. You can kind of see things clearly. You get out of this routine that you can kind of get caught in. And instead of being a soldier on the front lines of battle, you're the general looking at everything. And so that helped me a lot to kind of really hit things in a more concise, pointed way. And the other reason why I really am not traveling infinitely is because Envy is still losing enough cash flow to where I'm like, I kind of need to like save a little bit more than I want to, but just to make sure we're okay. And it's, the good news is we are turning the ship and it's going in a very positive direction. Took a little loss this month, actually a pretty decent loss, but looking like in the future, barring a roof collapsing, we're looking pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, just full disclosure, the loss was mostly because we turned a unit which cost us $15,000.
Right.
That's most of the loss.
Yeah. When you turn a unit, it was a guy that was squatting in there for a couple months and Confederate flag. That's my guy.
Oh, I love that guy. I was told his girlfriend to tell him like, not really a winner race if two brown guys evicted you.
That's right. Yeah, you and Steve went up there. An Indian and a Mexican go up and tell the guy with the Confederate flag to get out legally. And
if he paid rent, I would have bought him a couple of flags. I don't
care. Yeah, flags. I don't care.
But so we did lose some money this month, but we would be selling that property. We'll be putting that on market. Yeah, and we should make about 140, 150.
If you're in the Bakersfield area and you want a fantastic triplex in a good area, and I'm saying that confidently, this is a great property. The only reason why we're selling it is because we just got some some good wins happening in Tennessee. And I want to see what happens. Also, it's our last property in Bakersfield. And we've just we're evolving into that world of like, let's just cut it clean and just move on. But it's a great property.
Yeah, good quick numbers for you guys. Bought it 4 years ago, 190. It'll be on the market for 400. We should clear about 150 grand in pure profit. Yeah. After all, even including all that 15,000 we just said that we lost.
And that's with a management team. So you're not like fixing the plumbing at 12 a.m. That's a big block I've noticed for certain people who resist getting into real estate. And, it's breaking even despite having one vacant unit, the unit that we're turning right now.
Yeah, we could possibly do 1,200 of cash flow a month if we kept it, but I think we've extracted most of our stuff there. And, at one point we had 30 to 40 doors in Bakersfield, and this is the last one. So we should move on, and we should hold in Inland Empire and Orange County, but we'll be selling some of those as well and concentrating hard on Tennessee. So let's talk about Tennessee. So once you've done with was it a jazz festival you're going to in New Orleans?
Yeah, Jazz Fest. I'll be there a little bit longer than Jazz Fest because I just love the town of New Orleans and that whole French Quarter. Yeah, it's just surrounded by music, these old buildings. It's a one of a kind town that I love to visit. And it's just kind of actually I hate Bourbon Street, by the way. If anyone's listening, go to Bourbon Street one time and have a couple of drinks. You'll see why I hate it and why most people do. It's just dirty, and it's just take the Vegas Strip and just run it through mud.
When Prashant and I was 24 years old, we took my 97 Honda Civic and we went to every city in Texas, and the last city on the tour was New Orleans. Okay. And then we were hanging out on Bourbon Street and did our own thing. We had a good time.
What'd you think of Bourbon Street?
It was good. A lot of what is it? Those things you wear?
The beads.
The beads, and
it's still a thing. Even not around Mardi Gras, it's a thing. It's part of their culture.
That's the first time I saw a policeman on a horse walking through people.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that must have tripped you out. Yeah, that's right.
Happening? They were just get out of the way. Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, on my last trip there last year for Jazz Fest, I had a couple friends that go for the first time, and I was like, all right, I'll just take you and I'll just let you experience it. And I just kind of watch them take it in, and it gets old fast, but it's cool. It's fun, but the town is amazing. So yeah, I'm excited.
But the reason we are bringing all of this is not to boast that Drew's going on a trip to here, even though a little bit. But, you're saying that anybody can do this if you plan your life around. But it has to be entrepreneurship route, because if you have a W-2, it's kind of hard to do, right? Plan it a little bit.
I wish I don't. Yeah.
I mean, Prashant's doing it. He's working remotely.
Yeah. So I was going to say, it has its own challenges, similar to Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the Purple Bible, all you real estate guys out there. It really just changes your brain and you just think differently. And you're thinking assets versus liabilities. You're thinking real estate, businesses. Anyways, the point is, that was a game changer. That was a big one for me. And actually, I think one that is right up there is The 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. And by the way, his podcast is really good. He has some great guests and really, just little things he'll drop, learn something there. But yeah, he's got a great book called 4-Hour Work Week. I'm sure everyone's heard of it. And he actually gives you certain steps and things to say and do, depending on what route you want, whether it's business owner or W-2. I might argue it's probably easier to do it as a W-2. However, with the contingency, obviously not every job, you've got to be more hands-on, physical, of course you have to be there.
Let's have a small team too.
Right. The team. Yeah. So I get that. As opposed to Prashant, right? He doesn't have to physically be there. He's doing the marketing. Mm-hmm. He can work from anywhere. So that's a great advantage. And then when he clocks out, he clocks out. With me, as a person who's built not just one, but two businesses, thank God I did one of them with you. Yeah. It's I wish I did the music school with somebody. It was a lot of work. I was a miserable guy for a year. Just was. I'm not going to hide it. It was a lot of work, a lot of learning curves, a lot of things that I didn't see coming, blind spots. And I'm glad I did it, but it's not for everybody. It's not for the faint of heart. Building a new business is very difficult if you've never done it, because there's so many moving parts and things that you won't think are a big deal, but they are. Point is, when I coach clients on how to build a business or achieve some level of freedom, which I'm excitedly doing, I love to coach. A big part of how I usually get them to go to that next level is I mean, first you've got to have a great skill. So whether that's making a service or a product happen, try to be above the average, right? I state that's first. So some of the people I helped in the past, they already had that. That was my easiest clients. Then I was like, oh, cool, just figure out your marketing and sales. That's it. But it's hard to build all that. So I've got a couple clients who are in a whole new industry. And so you just got to slug your way through every little point, and I can't fire hose them because it's going to drown them in just like information. So it's just one step, brick by brick, and it takes time. It's extremely rewarding though. Once that wheel starts to have its own momentum, which is what mine has, like it's kind of crazy to say, but think about this. I could probably disappear for months in the music school, would be fine. Would it be thriving and growing? I mean, maybe, but probably not.
I think you can pull it off if you have a manager.
Yeah, for sure.
Who has some incentive,
right,
with sales.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. I don't know if I told you this, but I actually am bringing on a very part-time manager, partly for consulting and then partly to help me kind of, do all the manager duties that just you can't hire out to a person.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, so that's cool, man. So I guess anybody can do it. It's a short, long-winded answer.
Anybody can, but nobody does.
Nobody does. Yeah, it's true.
And I would say this: having that temperate, that mindset to be an entrepreneur, like a self-starter, it's rare. And I'm gonna just be right up front. You probably don't have it if you're listening to this. And that's not an insult, by the way. I'm not saying my way is the best way. There's been many times where I'm like, oh, I wish I had a W-2. I could just clock it out. Because you have to. It stops with me. Like if the fire gets big enough, with Onvi, like it's on you. Part of the reason why we've been experiencing some wins lately is because we've just been taking on the onus. We've been, one of the big wins was I put our listing up on one of our properties that has been just a tragedy since we got it, from squatters to issues, just an old build. It just wasn't getting rented or sold. I threw it up on Zillow, and we got not just one, but two really great leads right at the same time. Got one of them in there paying good rent for the whole place. And wow, and I'm not patting myself on the back, but had I not done that, maybe we'd still be bleeding on it. I mean, because the management.
Let me put it this way: we will definitely be bleeding.
Yeah, we can do this. It's just, and that's fine. And that's another part of why I say, well, if you want to be an entrepreneur, be ready. Sometimes you just got to do all the work and be miserable, and that's okay. That's part of it. But now I get to travel, and now I get to be. I was just gonna be honest with you guys. So when I was in Mexico for 5 weeks, I still think about it on almost any part of that trip. I still think about it and smile. So point is the wins will come, but you've got to put in the work. And here's
what about the time that girl stole all of your money?
Girl stole my money.
I was just kidding.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but yeah, no. But yeah, I mean, if you're gonna travel, yeah, like your head on swivel for sure. But no, it's man, that was such a great time. Oh no, the police stopped me in Mexico when I was in Tulum. I had a bag full of stuff.
Cocaine, right?
All cocaine. And so just for the record, I don't do drugs. I just have no interest. And so, but I had this huge bag of like things, and I'm on a literal bicycle. So, point is they pull me over and they just got real close to the bike. I'm like, all right, here we go. They speak not a lick of English. Two guys with AK-47s and mask, policia. And the main guy, the shorter guy, comes up and he's like searching all my stuff. And he had a trip opening that wallet you gave me with a thing. We had this thing where it pulls the cards up. Anyways, I'm just like, hey, no tengo drogas ni usar. And they look at me kind of for a second because they don't expect that coming from a guy with my eye color, I guess. And they, go, oh, and they kind of look through some stuff. And like, all right, go. So they let me go. But that was the only time where I was like, this might be a shakedown right now. Because I had actual cash visible. Hey, shout out to the Tulum.
Oh, so they didn't even try to get any of that?
No. Wow. They sent me on my way. And I pedaled my way home right straight down. I'm going to take a breather from that. But other than that, I had a really great time in Mexico. It's not what a lot of people think. I'm just going to throw that out there. It's really, really a cool spot. Are there certain bad parts of town? I'm sure there are. But I'm smart enough to have talked to people and do the research to know where those places are. Other bad parts of Orange County? Yep, we just don't go there. So anyways.
Yeah, well, let's when you ask me some questions, let's get to me about
Yeah.
the exchange rate and stuff on why.
Yeah, we'll shift it. So yeah, have you thought about investing in real estate and taking advantage of all of those benefits without any of the work? That is something that Onvi Invest not only provides, but has been providing since its inception. With friends and family, we have built an empire and a system of a wealth generating tool that is giving us and our friends and family that leverage in their life to create true wealth. Go to onviinvest.com for more to see if you qualify. And thanks for listening.
You control your destiny with your own entrepreneurship because you could have your equity, you can grow it. It'll be that's a good way to expand.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yep, that's a great way to do it. I mean, what Vince is doing is really, really smart, but you got to understand that, it's a ton more work than you're going to think it's going to be. But if you're willing to, study, get a mentor, and put in the work, it could change your whole life and your family's life, your whole legacy.
Yesterday my company sent me an email saying, "Hey, one of your other patents, just got released." So, that's another technology that we have with the company. But you spend a lot of time for that, but they've already bought my time.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really have any ownership on that patent. It's just a bragging rights, right? I can get another job, get a lot of money.
Resume builder.
Yeah, it's a resume. I have multiple patents.
Right.
I could get whatever job I want, but it doesn't really give me any residual income or anything like that. So but if I had my own company and I did that, well, that's a way to actually make money.
Right. And that's what you're doing. So instead of me describing what you're doing, maybe break it down like 5th grade level. What are you doing?
At work?
Everything, your life. What's your financial plan?
Well, yeah. So I work for a medical device company, really good company, Southern California based. And I have about 10 plus years experience. So I worked on a battery company before, and they're all just W2 jobs, but I'm a pretty good problem solver. So I just invent new stuff, and then we can patent it, and it's valuable to the world, and it's worth a lot of money for the companies that hire me. So I did that in my previous company, and I continue doing that with my new company. With my new company, it's all about developing a technology that works on medical devices that go into your body and do seals on different parts of your body. And if you have the technology to identify different parts and run the script differently, it's pretty cool. I like stuff like that. Now, this is still exciting for me, so I continue doing it. However, there is no big ticket for me for doing that. Yes, I can always make 6 figures, but there's never going to be a time where they're like, "Hey, this is really cool. Here's $500,000." That's not going to happen, right? So that's the drawback. However, my time is pretty flexible, and I like enjoying my stuff, doing stuff there. But I like the stuff that we do with Onvi.
Yeah. So why are you investing in real estate? What do you think is going to happen in 10 years now that you've been investing in real estate for close to 6?
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to if you never did anything, but maybe some stuff in stocks?
Yeah. Well, we can get into that. That's a little bit of it's a good question. So there's some basic things that I'm going to talk about so people can follow along is, when we got off the gold standard and we work for money, which is currency, which is a fiat currency because it's not tied to anything, and the government can just print it, right? So, which means you're trading your time for paper dollars, which they continuously devalue every year by printing more of it to pay for whatever things they think is necessary, whether it's wars or, helping a class of people that need help, whatever it is. But what happens is it slowly devalues the amount of labor that you do because they print more of that money, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're just working for that money, by every year, you have to make more and more of that money just to break even. Otherwise, you will become lower in society. So the only way to combat that is to buy assets. And there's different types of assets you can buy. The first level would be is buying buildings, bricks, commodities, gold, silver, coins like that. The second one will be is like having a company itself, you own Amazon or something. And the third would be you have stocks and stuff.
Which
Now,
is pieces of companies.
it's just pieces of companies, but the company could go under and you not have any control. So it's easy to get into investing with stocks because you could go online and buy it and then you can just trade it. There's some tax benefits to it. Now, but you will never, if you look up a very rich person, very wealthy person, nobody's got wealthy by owning stocks, right? Because it's very difficult because you will get an average return. If you know some secret about a company and you use that information to buy some stocks, you're going to go to jail for insider trading. But that's not a good plan. So you could do that with real estate. So those kind of stuff, you want to be aware. So you want to get yourself into assets as quickly as possible. If you just continuously just working your whole life, then there's something bigger than you going on that you are always going to be trying to catch up.
Yeah.
Right. So you will never win, really.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a big believer in that there is no stagnation, either up or down. And I remember you were echoing that when I think Grant Cardone said that or something. Like, yeah, like that's something I kind of realized years ago. And, it just is what it is. Unless you are making consistently a nice salary that's keeping up with or beating inflation, it's like you're losing. It's just a losing game. And that's a huge reason why you want to have assets, especially like real estate, which are, making you rich in your sleep, so to speak. And, with real estate, maybe it's a little more active. You can argue that maybe you just buy right and you get a great management company. And it's actually not that active, which can be done with our help. By the way, we do coach people on how to do that. But at first that was not a thing. It was a headache in finding the right management team. And I'll pause on that. Yeah, it was a challenge in finding the right management team. And every vendor, essentially, you got to learn how to hire, you got to learn how to fire, and you got to learn how to vet. And sometimes at the end of the day, still roll up your sleeves and do the work. All I got to say about that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So what else we got going on the...
Well, speaking of the coaching thing, I just doing a quick shameless plug. We did just sign up a coaching client who paid a decent sum for our time. And I think that's a very smart decision. I think we're underpriced personally, because I think what he's going to spend or has spent on us, on our coaching, is going to make him 10, 20, 30 times easily if he just listens to what we're. And how we met him was, him and his wife, I should say, is we had a free meetup. So by the way, if you guys want to attend our free meetup in the county area, just message us at OnVieInvest on our Instagram. And then we have, we usually have some kind of class that's like a huge value add. So we taught everybody how to basically buy right, a 6-step process. It was a fire hose of information, but, gave everyone bullet points. And so really proud of that class. We gave away like a lot of our tricks for very cheap, which is cool. And hopefully somebody's using it now to better their lives and for easier than we had it. And then, sure enough, one of the guys hit us up and said that they really are serious. They want to get into it. They've been reading a lot about real estate and they want to do it right the first time. And so, we're happy to help. And if that's you, I 100% encourage you to do it. We're very forthcoming, very upfront, very honest about what to expect. And so one thing I will tell you before you reach out to us is this: if you're not willing to be consistent with the calls and do the work, don't waste our time. I don't even want your money. It's fine, because I want those successes and I care. Like it affects me emotionally when I have clients who just fall off after a few weeks because they realize, oh, this is work. So if you don't want to work, don't sign up. Simple as that. Anyways, I'm off my soapbox.
Sounds good. Call us, get coaching or don't. We don't care.
Yeah.
Hopefully you're doing good. But you want to talk about like our plans for this year? Or?
Yeah, exactly. So I want to pivot a little bit, kind of start to wrap this up a little bit. 2024 plans. Essentially, our cash flow is about to be pretty decent. I just want it to be better. And I'm going to be able to hire some quality people to manage more, get more of our face and focus out of it. We're still on the Airbnb apps, checking it regularly. And although we've got a wonderful team, it's just not like it's not that level that we need it to be to really help us to focus on our lanes. So, in the name of cash flow, what are we doing, Vince? What are we doing? You tell me.
Yeah, first I wanted to say, the your first 5 months or first half of the year, we're not really buying any properties, and then the second half we'll be selling a couple and picking up a couple or three in Tennessee. Cash flow wise, yeah, we've been losing some money because we're doing a lot of renovations and trying to flip some of these properties, right? So a month over month it just showed negative, but once we sell everything, it should be a net positive for the year. Um, that is the overall plans, and if you want to go into why we're doing certain things of why we're moving from here to Tennessee, it's mostly because of cash flow. We tend to get more bang for the buck for our returns in Tennessee, and it's also more landlord friendly. And we moved on to a furnished business model where we want our clients to be someone who's lost their home, or somebody who's moving from here to Tennessee and they're building a home. There's some of our people who are staying in our homes, and that's our model. And we have a really great team there, and we have a good realtor. I think Drew will be hanging out with them next week. So excited for that. And he'll be touring some of the new builds. We've been partnering with the newer build guy over there, and who's given us permission to operate as midterm rentals just for us. Everybody else has to get written permission every time they get someone. So, these kind of connections gives us the confidence to operate in a new market, and where we can drive more buck into our pockets and our investors. So that's what we're doing.
Yeah. It's really hitting a lot of the check boxes, nearly every check box. Now it is, as we were discussing earlier, probably a little less appreciation than maybe Orange County, Inland Empire. I mean, that's just hard to compete with. I think it's number one in the nation. So, with that said, that's the only sacrifice we're making. And we know that we're making it. And that's to balance our portfolio a little bit. So a little more cash flow, and giving up a little bit of that appreciation potential as we're selling some of these properties. But part of the reason why we're also selling them is because even though now they're starting to cash flow, they're older builds. There's going to be a lot of issues that will eventually come up. Capital expenditures has been one of those things that's kind of been a cash suck out of our company, as well as maybe an occasional squatter. So it's no accident while we're buying brand new builds with 10-year warranties on everything, getting them furnished with guests that are vetted by companies that are helping people, like insurance companies that are basically saying, "Oh, your house lost its roof. Cool, let's go ahead and pay a premium for this guy's house over here, all new everything." And so it's a really nice win-win. And but it's because we're just balancing things. We're not selling everything. We're starting to have the best of both worlds, a little bit of appreciation and now a little bit better cash flow by the end of this year, which I'm super excited about.
Yeah, that sounds good. So, to pivot towards closing, let's say you didn't know me and you wanted to get into real estate or something, what questions would you ask me to know about the economy or the interest rates, or, so you're more comfortable buying?
I would say this, that is another one of those big barriers.
Yeah.
When it comes to being a real estate investor, is interest rates. What's your thoughts on that? Like the current rates, where do you think it's going to go? How does that influence me as maybe a new investor?
So we are recording this at midnight on Monday, April 29th. So
Won't stop.
We're all heavily caffeinated. So here's what I think. This is what I've been spending most of my time, other than, trying to pay our $70,000 per month bills. Other than that, I spend a lot of time on the economy and interest rates and stuff. Here's what I have learned so far is the inflation is still coming in a little bit hotter than the Fed's anticipated. So we're still like way better than the 9s that we saw earlier last year. So we're down to, mid 3s, which is pretty good. But the rate that the Feds like to see is a 2s, or at best mid 2s, right? So
can we kind of just quickly sidetrack into why? Why do the Feds want inflation to be around the twos?
That's a great question. It's a funny story. If you really look at the history, it's because the Federal Reserve of New Zealand said 2 is a good number long time ago, and everybody said, you know what, that sounds good, and every country uses it.
Is that it really?
Yes.
I actually had no idea.
Yeah. And
you all learned a little Snapple fact.
Yeah. Now, what that means, guys, is if you made $100 every year, they're making it worth less and less, right? So people are like, oh, that's crazy. Why would they do that? There's a lot of reasons why they do that, because if people like to get pay raises, and if you can beat inflation by fixing your costs, it actually benefits you, right? That's the point of owning assets and stuff.
Yeah.
You just have to figure out how to get into the game of what the Fed's are doing. As I keep telling people that. So if you can figure that out, it makes more sense. And the reason that the US does that, whether you like it or not, is the US is the world reserve currency, which means everything the world trades, most of it is traded, more than half actually trades in the US dollars. So there's a need for the US dollars. So we can get away with printing money because everybody else have to use it. So we can export the inflation out of the country.
I see.
Which is a very good position to be in. That's why when people say, I don't want to be political, but when people, actually, this is not even political. When people say we don't want to have all these military and all these stuff, it's true in a idealistic world that will make sense, but nobody will care about the US dollar, and they will be like, no, we don't want to do it. Right now, you kind of have to. You're going to find a reason to bomb that country if you don't use it.
Yep.
Right. So
walk softly, carry a big stick, Teddy Roosevelt. Yeah, it's kind of it's the way of the world, really.
Yeah. But the interest rates you asked.
Yeah. So let's go into that a little bit. What's going on with those? Yeah.
So like I said, Feds like twos. You got the history for it, and we're in the mid threes. So they're meeting actually tomorrow, I think, and day after. There is a less than 1% chance they're going to decrease the rates. They're going to hold the rates. They're right now at 5.25%, 5.5%. That's the federal fund rate, which is what the banks to banks borrow money at. So they will add a premium on top to sell it to us, right?
What is a premium typically? For like 1
2 to 3 points.
Got it.
So right now we're trading at about 7.5% for mortgage rates, right? So now that's the little backstory. So if the inflation numbers continue to come in hot as it's coming in, we might not even get any lower rates this year. So, but if it does fall more than we think it is, it gets closer to the 2, you might see 1, 2, or even 3 quarter point cuts by end of the year, which will be good.
Yeah.
And if that starts happening, interest rates will fall a little bit down. But, that's really not the right way to look at whether you should buy a property or not, right? Because a property works on a P&L sheet. If it makes money with current interest rates, buy it. If it doesn't, don't buy it, right? But if it makes sense with current interest rates, you buy it, and interest rates fall, you can always refinance. And I'm talking about residential real estate. So once you go into 5+, it's a different game. And a lot of people got smashed in the face when they got floating rate debts for 2 years. It readjusted, and some people lost their homes.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, there's a difference between fixed and adjustable rates, which is what he's referring to. So
yeah, we don't have any adjustable rates.
Yeah. So our expenses are fixed, even though they're very high.
Yeah.
Which is still, peace of mind, knowing that we know what they are every month.
Yeah.
The rare exception. Yeah. And real quick, just in case people don't know, with those interest rates, how does that affect everything, the economy itself? Like, what does that mean between inflation and interest rates? How does that affect somebody who's not buying assets versus somebody who is?
Okay.
End on that.
Yeah, so that's a great question. So I'll try to explain like everybody's in the 10th grade. So
10th grade.
10th grade level, right?
You know what? Go 7th grade.
So there's only this. I'll go 7th grade. There's only 2 jobs for the Federal Reserve to do. One is to have maximum employment. And this second one is to have stable pricing, which is they don't like inflation. Because then people lose confidence in the US dollar and they will start freaking out. So they don't like both. They don't like high unemployment, and they don't like high inflation, right? However, they will trade one for the other. So if the unemployment rate is very low, and then the inflation is high, they will trade some employment. They will make people lose jobs, and reduce the inflation, because inflation is just how much people spend, and then the demand goes up, and then things start going up in value. So the way they control it is there's two different things they do. One is called quantitative easing or quantitative tightening, which means they can print money and give it to people or companies, and that promotes economic activity but also causes inflation. Quantitative tightening is the opposite. So they will start pulling money away from the markets. So the Feds were buying actively mortgage bonds, mortgage-backed securities, MBS. That's why the interest rates were super artificially low during COVID. Now they're selling it back, so it's going up higher. And the other one is by raising interest rates. So they have a big lever. So now they have 525 basis points of, which is 5.25% of interest rate. The federal funds rate is the highest it's been in over 20 years. So now if the economy goes into a little bit slowing down or recession, they can bring that lever back down to 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you can get out of the recession. So they're in a really good position right now. That's what the Federal Reserve tries to do. They actually try to help. They're not political. They don't give a crap who wins elections. They don't care about anything. They will only try to get highest employment and lowest inflation. That's their only goal.
Got it.
Only nice. 2 goals, I should say. So that's what they're working on with the numbers they're seeing. I don't expect them to drop any rates anytime soon. So we're going to be stuck with a little bit of higher rates. So you just have to learn how to survive in this market.
I was telling people when the rates were super high and they were using that as their main complaint, I was like, just run your numbers. If it makes sense, if you're making even a little bit of cash flow, I mean, when rates go down, now you can refi, and now you've got the best of both worlds. You got, in a market where there's a lot less competition. And we know that well because we kept buying right on through, when rates were below 3. And so it's extremely competitive. People were naming their firstborn after the seller and stuff.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah. So, and it didn't matter. You can always buy if it makes sense on paper. Learn to run your numbers, learn, what to look for, demographics. Is it growing? Is it not growing? Building the team out, all that. We've really got into a nice stride and have tweaked it enough to where now, speaking on inflation, we're able to really take advantage of inflation. Inflation's high, prices go up, we actually get wealthier, which is a weird thing to think about. But complaining about inflation, well, just get on the right side of the coin.
Yeah,
and
because
then, go for it.
No, I was going to say if it's very difficult. I made some reels about some talking points about this. I think the last time I talked about this, I got more than 50,000 hits on Instagram. But it's basically talking about the US dollar compared to other currencies, right? People always complain, oh, the US dollar is losing value and, is doing that and that. These guys, they don't understand how this actually works. The US dollar is losing value compared to what? Is it to bags of rice? Is it compared to houses? Yeah, of course, compared to those real assets, it is losing value because that's how it works. But if you compare it to other countries' stuff, it is gaining in value, right? So my family, we own some stuff in India, and we bought some 20 years ago when the US dollar was about 40 rupees, or 40 Indian rupees to $1 US. And right now it's about 85 rupees to $1 US, which means if the property that we bought in India went up by 100%, we made $0 because when we bring the money back here, it's worth less because that's how much it's traded differently, right? So if you understand these things, then you can make better judgments. So when you just start saying oh, the US dollar is losing value, I'm you don't understand how this works at all. Everything is losing value. That's how fake currencies work, right? So you want to buy some assets in US so it can go up. Now, how long will this go? How long will US be number one? I don't know, but it looks like it will be for the next few decades.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's and that's just one of those. There's so many reasons to get involved in real estate and to push through any of the challenges. We've just kind of touched on a few of them. Now, granted, it's taken us half a decade to really hit a stride where we feel good, wins on wins. Because there's so many skill sets that you need. There's so many moving parts. Because there's so many ways to win, which is what we're hitting now. Check. There's also so many ways to lose, right? And so if you don't know how to make those wins on every single checkbox, you're going to lose. It's not on your side. Real estate's a difficult asset to purchase, manage, control, even if you read a bunch of books like we did. And so we've taken some of the hard lumps early on for you. And I want to reiterate that something that we do is we help people get it right. And I'm very honored to help people get it right. Now, some of those people, like my mom, don't want to do anything, and they just say, hey, I want to partner with you guys and let's do something together. And that's helped her retire, saved her retirement, in fact. And there's some people who are just kind of like, they're hungry and they're willing to go to battle and do it, but they want all the right gear and they want a layout of the map of the battlefield itself. And that's what we provide. The team to what to look for, to every logistical item that could go wrong. Now, I'm not saying that work with us, it's going to be flawless and we're so perfect. No, it's still real estate. There's, things happen, but having somebody in your corner is so huge. It's something that I wish I would have done way earlier. One of my big goals this and next year is to actually start paying for more coaching, in fact, and to get smarter and to get that leverage, So I want to hire somebody to coach me on being a better music school owner and being a better real estate investor. Even though I'm hitting a lot of wins, I have the literal, if you look at just pure reviews, I actually have the #1 ranked music school in Orange County. I still am I'm like, no, but there's another level. Like, I want to be better. I want to give more value, touch more lives. Like, how do I do that? Same thing with real estate. Even though we're hitting a lot of wins now and really starting to see the light get brighter, I still know that there's a whole different level, and that's what I'm excited to do. So, like I said, I don't want to harp on it too much, but that if that's something you're looking to do, reach out to us. Vince@onvinvestments.com would be probably the best way to do it. Reach out, shoot an email to him, and just say, hey, I want some help. What can I do?
Sounds good, guys. That's it. Anything else, Drew?
That's it.
Any other questions?
Good luck, and get your hustle on.
Yeah, we'll have a meetup sometime in May, right?
Yeah, reach out to us depending on when you're listening to this. We do pretty regular meetups. Let's say almost once a month, and they're always free, and we just give a ton of value, and then
you can meet other cool people
and meet other great people doing big things. Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening.
Guys. See you later.
I don't know about you, but I definitely like to see 5-star reviews on any service or any product before I purchase. Please take a second to leave us a 5-star review, whether you're listening to it on Apple, iTunes, or Spotify, or whatever platform. Take a second, goes a long way, helps us a lot to grow the channel, and thanks for listening.